Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Dojo Live recap show. That means only one thing. It's Monday, and today is Monday, November 8th, 2021. I'm Tulio Siragusa. Joining me today is Kim Lantis. Hi, guy. Hi, Kim. I'm so used to saying hi,
Hi,
guys.
guys.
I know, right? You just become robotic when you repeat things. But hello, Kim. Welcome to the
Hi.
Dojo Live recap show. So we're going to recap 3 live interviews we had last week, and they were all great. And let's just go through them, and we're going to do it inside of 10 minutes, plus announce what's coming up this week. So let's see if we can make that happen. The first show we had was with Matt Britton, who's the CEO at Suzy. We talked about democratizing market research and consumer insights. Then we talked with Christopher Bergh, who's the CEO and head chef at DataKitchen, and we talked about delivering better analytics faster with DataOps. And finally, our conversation with Mark Ruddock, who's the CEO at Nuula, about the intersection of data and design, reimagining small business financial services. Really enjoyed every one of these conversations. The one that stood out the most for me last week was the conversation with Mark. For one thing, I'm very interested about anything design, as you know, being a big design thinker, evangelist.
Mhm.
So, in listening to him, it really was impressing on how much of that they've played out inside of their organization and thinking through how to position their product and how to design a product. And it's about taking a very human-centric approach to solving problems, to finding solutions to problems. You're not actually solving problems for some personas. It's actually an individual and people that you're trying to solve problems for. And so I really love what they're doing, and they're leveraging data, which is an important element to manage risk, and they're leveraging contextual data, which is about, for example, a small business like a restaurant who has awesome reviews. There's a likelihood they're
Mhm.
going to increase their business if they're brand new. So they keeping up with their finances becomes easier when the lending institution has access to the data on a daily basis and their contextual data, i.e., reviews on a daily basis, which allows them to scale their business a lot faster versus the
Mhm.
traditional method where you put in an application every 6 months and you have to plan out everything you're going to do for the next year. Doesn't necessarily align with the way small businesses run. So it was
Yeah.
very, very disruptive what they're doing, but also super innovative and aligned with what small business owners really need. So that stood out for
Yeah.
me a lot.
With
What about you?
Nuula, it was sort of like that, the modern day fairy tale, right? Of how companies can modernize and the shifts that need to happen. I really appreciated also just the company model, the business model, this really kind of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, like a win-win situation. And I think that people first theme really kind of threaded through all of the shows last week. This idea of democratizing market research, I thought it was really neat what Susie's doing. Particularly interesting for me was the real time feedback that Susie is allowing companies to have when you're literally in the conversation and approval processes, whatever it might be. You could actually ask questions to potential users and get that feedback in real time, which I thought was just fantastic. And I'm like, how do I get to be in that pool? I want to be a feedbacker. Is that a word? I just invented it. But yeah, this real people first element. And then we had the data kitchen with DataOps, right? We're all familiar more familiar with DevOps these days. DataOps I thought was really neat and really what motivated Chris Bergh, the CEO there, what they do, and that's just to make data easier, right? He really got personal telling his story about how it's really hard to be in the analytics, field and just to kind of take that pressure off, make things easier for those people as well. And really that's the heart of the issue, I think, is how can we make life easier, more efficient, more effective for people, so we're not having to work those long days and long nights and holidays and whatever else it might be.
If you really think about it, all 3 shows sort of synergetically align, right?
Serendipity.
First you need to get input from people, real input from people. You've got to make it easier to interact and get people's opinions and feedback on just about everything, right? And then you've got to collect that data and put it somewhere and synthesize it and make it insightful and useful. That's the whole idea of the data kitchen, right? Put all the ingredients in and you come out with some useful insights. And finally, what are you going to do with that? How's that actionable? And it's just really interesting how more and more companies today understand this need to personalize everything and the input required from all their clients and all the stakeholders to make that more effective. It's not good enough anymore to just, and I come from this space, I've been in it for 30 years, so I know what's going and where it's going. So I'm going to build a solution based on that know-how. That's not good enough anymore.
Yeah.
That worked maybe back in the day for some knowledge workers, but things change so fast. So unless you're aligning with what people are saying, you're kind of going to miss an opportunity.
Yeah, and going back to Matt, one of his expertise, Matt Britton, on the millennial generation, I forefronting that. We're here now. Like, we make up a very large portion of the workforce, the buying force, and everything else. And just really to be able to see that influence in a positive way, right? It's not this traditional, what you might see projected as whiny or lazy or anything of that, but it's really integrating purpose into what we're doing and how we want to do that better. And the personalization, I think, would be just one of those adjectives to describe that generation, where it's very relevant, and kind of all three of these companies that we got to speak with last week.
Yeah, and you've got to have the courage to break away from the traditional norm of how it's always been done, even in highly
the small
regulated
business owners and Nuula, right? I think Mark
exactly.
touched on that, about how you've got new business owners and the older business owners, and what it takes to be able to tap into both of them.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's the whole thing. Even in highly regulated environment like in financial services, you can still get very creative and innovative and use things that were not at your disposal years ago. Real-time data and input, and just with artificial intelligence, you can get really smart about enabling faster decision and more accurate decisions as well. So it's a telltale sign of things to come, Kim. More personalization, more insights, and with that also comes less risk. That's the beautiful thing. You don't have to sacrifice, you don't have to put risk on the back burner to try to get innovative and disruptive. You can accomplish both, and that's the cool thing about it. So This week, I think we only have one show on Wednesday this week, and then we'll do a rebroadcast tomorrow and Thursday. Not sure what the title is for Wednesday. I'm not sure we have it yet. But I believe it's with, let's see,
Clifton,
it's with
Clifton
Clifton. Yeah, with Planter with a 3.
Isn't he?
So,
I remember that cracked me up so much last week.
That's the show we're going to have live this Wednesday. And, as we get into the holiday season and the year, things tend to slow down a little bit. People get busy with their budgeting cycles and such. So, but we don't worry, we will still have some shows. We have over 400 shows, so we'll rebroadcast something of interest for all the viewers if we have one that's not coming up that's live. But come back again.
We plan on hitting it hard through December 16th, right?
Exactly. And then we've got already planned shows all the way through January and February. So It's going to be a fun and exciting new year. And until then, stay safe, have fun. And we'll see you again live on Wednesday at 12 o'clock Pacific.